What's up, everybody? Welcome to Prime Time. Hunter's not here. He's out doing a lot of Christmas stuff. He's having a lot of fun without us. So let's have a little bit of fun without him. We'll have him back here in a little while. But we're going to introduce today a new show called Fight or Fright. But before we get into that, I am your host, Chadwick Webb. And then we have, of course, as always, the other co-host, Carrie Webb. And we're excited to do this. This is a spooky debate show. I have dabbled here or there, and Carrie as well, in a little bit of debate. Like you've judged.
I've judged.
I've played and stuff, and have even played one of the competitors in this match. And it's always fun to just argue about movies and get mad if you are right and people vote against you, or just be triumphant if you're right and they vote for you. And I'm sure we'll see how this goes here. And as you can see, we're in the throes of the Christmas holiday season, other holidays as well. But today this one is going to be mainly Christmas themed, and we have some great competitors here to debate some great questions. And we also have a guest judge, since Hunter's not here, to help us out. And without further ado, I think we're going to introduce everybody, and I think we're just going to pull everybody in here. So let's go ahead and open this up. Introducing Noah Khan, our judge. Thank you, sir, for coming in last minute. How's it going?
Happy to help. I'm good. Looking forward to hearing some good debates.
All right, sweet. Sounds good. And then our first competitor, who's done this a few times and stuff. Actually, I forgot. We're gonna do promos. So let's go ahead and do that instead. And here's our first competitor. I'll let him introduce himself.
So naturally, when you want to, have a Christmas debate, you bring in a Jew. Of course you do. I'm Will Cohen, also known as the Virtuoso Will Cohen in certain places in the on the web. If you're wondering why I am here, well, I gave Chad the idea of calling this program Fight or Fright, and I guess that means that I got to be in the inaugural episode. So I'm looking forward to this. I love my competitor, Brannon Dunlap, a lot. He is a great guy. He knows his stuff. He absolutely loves horror, probably even more than I do, as a matter of fact. So I'm not taking this lightly at all. But overall, I am just here to have some fun. Let's do this.
Hey guys, what's going on? Brannon Dunlap here. Super excited to be a part of the very first episode ever of Fight or Fright, and always awesome to be on. Welcome to Prime Time. And of course, Will had to pull up the Jew card about 30 seconds after he went on the screen. So I don't know how I'm going to come up with that or follow that, but this is going to be a lot of fun, guys. Will's right. I do love horror. I love Christmas, and we'll see if my love for everything pays off. Let's do it, guys.
All right, so we have everybody here. Those are some fun promos, and so we've had these players have had these questions, have given us some answers for about over a week, I think now. So they've had time to prep, and I'm very excited to hear how they approach these questions. So let's go ahead and get into it. And so we're going to take out the judges. By judges. And actually, I got to figure out how I'm going to do. No, let's do it like this. And I'm going to introduce the first question, which is, what is the best Christmas horror film? So we're just a few days away from Christmas on this recording. I don't know exactly when it's going to come out. I'm going to try to maybe get it to come out on Christmas Day. We'll see. If it's not Christmas Day when this is airing, then I'm sorry. It took me longer to edit, but we'll get there. These guys had some great answers for this, so let's go ahead and get into it. Just the format, I'll say, is they're going to get 1 minute to open. They're going to get 30 seconds to expand on their argument. Each player will get those, and then we're going to go into a 4-minute open debate, and then we're going to end it with each player getting a minute to close it out, and just try to really sell their argument about why their pick is the best. And then we're going to bring all 3 judges on, including me, to say who they think won the argument, and then whoever did will get a point, and then it's basically best of 3. Yeah, so two out of 3, right? And if someone wins both questions, we're still going to do the first 2 questions already. We're still going to do the 3rd question just for fun. So, all right, we're going to go to Will first, and the clock will start when he begins speaking.
So while there might not be a shortage of Christmas-themed horror films, there are a kind of a shortage of really good Christmas-themed horror films. And so I found the one that I felt matched the question the best, and that is 1974's Black Christmas, the original, the OG. Why is this the right choice? First of all, it's so good that the fact that they've tried to remake this twice and failed both times should tell you everything you need to know. This film is violent, it's funny, it has heart, and it has a lot of really great, great scares, great intensity, great kills, just across the board. This film just keeps you guessing until the very end of the film, when you're just left without silence and the phone ringing at the end. Black Christmas is just an absolute joy from start to finish, and it's the ultimate package.
All right, guys. So Christmas-themed horror movies. There aren't a whole lot out there, to be honest. And there's a reason why there's 3 Black Christmases, because they just keep wanting to remake the same thing. Why? Because the original one wasn't good enough. They wanted to try and make it a little bit better. Not mean to be knocking on Black Christmas, but I kind of am, because that's the point of this whole thing. Anyways, when I think about Christmas-themed horror films, it's not about Christmas-themed horror films. You need a movie that's about Christmas, and that's what Krampus is from 2015. It's a movie about Christmas and what happens when you don't believe in Christmas. And that's why I think Krampus is the best Christmas-themed horror film.
All right, so those are the first minutes. Now we're going to go ahead and get into the 30-minute expansions. And same thing, the timer will start when you begin speaking.
I mean, Black Christmas literally has Christmas in the title, so saying that it's not a Christmas film is kind of a misnomer. It's not like it's not is Die Hard a Christmas theme, is Die Hard a Christmas movie debate. That's not what this is. Black Christmas works better than Krampus because the cast is better, the writing is better. Here in Black Christmas, you have people like John Saxon, Margot Kidder, and Olivia Hussey. I mean, can you name anyone aside from Toni Collette and Adam Scott in Krampus? No.
Having a well-known cast doesn't make a good horror film. Think about all the other horror films that have no casts or no known casts that are still great. Krampus is better than Black Christmas because Black Christmas is about some random person who wants to kill people on Christmas, whereas Krampus is about not only Krampus but everything that Krampus can compensate to scare you and punish you for not believing in Christmas.
Okay, now we're going to go into the open debate. It's a 4-minute debate. Try not to talk over each other, but you can let it get as heated as you want. It's just for fun. So you guys can go at it. I'm not going to police niceness or anything like that. But just try and make sure that we can hear you guys separately, and try to share time if you can, so that not one person is dominating the conversation. But otherwise, have fun.
All right. So the reason why Krampus is the best Christmas movie is because while your messages are there are just vastly better films that have done this before. Hell, Gremlins did a lot of these things better, where it's the anti-capitalist, the family is important thing. There's so many other movies that do this better than Krampus does, And for a film that's called Krampus, you would think he'd be there the entire time, but he doesn't show up until like the last 20 minutes of the film, of a 90-minute film.
See, now Krampus isn't about Krampus. It's about the spirit of Christmas and how Krampus is the antithesis of that. Therefore, if there's no spirit in Christmas, he doesn't need to show up until the end. You've got all of his henchmen to do it for him. Gremlins is a great... Go ahead.
But the thing is, though, like you're kind of contradicting yourself, because you're saying that the spirit of Krampus, the film, is to really show like what happens when you lose the spirit of Christmas. But then you also say that Krampus is the antithesis of the spirit of Christmas. But that doesn't make any sense. Krampus is there, to punish those that Santa essentially couldn't really do. And you don't really feel like these people are getting punished for anything. This film feels like there is like absolutely no stakes. Like there's things that are jumping up, but there's things that like all of his henchmen are vastly scarier than Krampus is. And when things are more scary than your titular character, that's not going to work. Whereas with Black Christmas, it's a mystery, it's suspenseful, and on top of it, you get like just these amazing performances, which you just don't get from Krampus.
You get amazing performances, yes, but Krampus is all about the spirit of Christmas and what happens when you don't believe in the spirit of Christmas. Whereas Black Christmas is about a crazy guy who kills people and he's deranged and he kills people on Christmas. But to me, that's not what makes a great Christmas themed horror film.
But the thing is here, Brandon, that the question is not what is the best, what is the best horror film that encapsulates the spirit of Christmas. It is the best Christmas horror film. And Black Christmas is still a Christmas film because it takes place during Christmas. It's literally titled Black Christmas. Yeah, these people are killing people on Christmas. This guy is killing people on Christmas for sure. But this still has to do with Christmas, where it's still a family, it's a family affair. Friends are getting together, families getting together. So all the spirit is there. But the reason why this is better is because you get more horror out of it rather than what's going to be a good family film. All the horror aspects are still 100% there. Where in Krampus, we're not getting that.
I'm not disputing that Black Christmas isn't a Christmas horror film. What I'm saying is that Krampus is better because Krampus is all about the spirit of Christmas, whereas Billy in Black Christmas just decides to kill people on Christmas because of his family generational because of his trauma at Christmas time.
But it's still but at the same time, all the things that that you're getting there, the closest of the friends, the closest of the family, that's still the spirit of Christmas. That still exists. Just because it's not the front and center doesn't mean that Krampus is better because that is. Yeah, we might get that, but at the same time, we're also not getting great performances. We're not getting good writing. We're not getting good stakes. We're not getting good kills. We're not getting everything that you expect from a typical horror film in Krampus. At the end, whenever we see anyone get eaten, at the end of the movie, it turns out no, they weren't getting eaten at all. There's no stakes. All of them are now just there all together, and that's not scary. That's just low stakes. That's not scary.
You're absolutely right. But one final thing: Black Christmas can happen at any time of the year. Krampus can only happen at Christmas.
All right, that was a good open debate round. So now we're going to go into the closings. We're going to go to Will first, and then Brannon can go ahead and close this one out after that. And it's going to be a minute each.
If the main character is traumatized by Christmas and is killing people on Christmas, then no, obviously we cannot have this take place any other time. It has to happen at Christmas. And it makes sense that this happens at Christmas because we are still getting the spirit of Christmas. We're still getting all the fun, we're getting kills set to great Christmas songs. We're getting all the family closest, all the friends closest. We're getting loved ones hugging each other because it's Christmas. So it's still the spirit of Christmas set to a horror film on top of some just dynamite kills, dynamite suspense, and just an ending that just keeps you guessing from start to, that just keeps you guessing all the way to the very end of the film. And Krampus, we just don't get that. We get a bunch of negativity set with a bunch of other negativity, slow pace for a film that, that's only 90 something minutes. This goes by very, very slow and for a no stakes ending. Sorry. Black Christmas trumps Krampus by a mile.
I would argue. Oh, sorry. I would argue that yes, Billy may have been traumatized at Black Christmas, and he may have done all the killings, but it's still a very human person doing very human things around Christmas time. And Krampus and his henchmen are not. You have toys that are killing people. You have gingerbread that are killing people. You have a Jack-in-the-Box that's killing people. Yes, Krampus may not have killed anybody himself, but that's not what makes a good horror film. It's the theme. It's the what's the word? It's the vibe. It's the tension. And there may be more, gore and whatnot in Black Christmas, but Krampus is literally taking Christmas, shaking it up, putting it in a snow globe, if you will, and showing what can happen when everything goes wrong on Christmas.
All right, so I brought out the judges here. We had quite a first round there of debate. I'll go ahead and start my opinion. Normally, we do in other debate shows that I've been on and watched, we'll have already written on our whiteboards. I forgot to bring a whiteboard, so I'm already unprepared. Trying to think about so many other things, and I just didn't bring one. So I'm just going to go ahead and say who I voted for, and then you guys can do the same thing. If you have a whiteboard, feel free to write whoever you wrote down, and we'll fix that in future episodes. But I liked both of these guys' arguments. I liked both of their picks, and I liked their arguments. They were both arguing like for kind of different things, where I feel like, Will was focusing a lot on, what's the best movie that happens to take place around Christmas, and when kind of like not that was like a knock against his film, he kind of steered into it and said, well, it doesn't really matter that mine's not like more Christmas than yours, or even the same amount of Christmas. It might even be less Christmas, but it's still a better like constructed horror film. Yours doesn't have like the stakes that mine does, stuff like that. But then Brannon was focusing on more so like mine is more Christmas. Mine encapsulates the spirit of Christmas more, and I feel like that in itself just makes it the better Christmas horror film. With heavy emphasis on Christmas. I went with Will on this one, though, because I think that even though I liked where Brannon was going with, mine is more Christmas and mine encapsulates that, and mine also has good performances, even if they're not like showy and stuff like that. And he tried to especially at the end there, try and build up, what makes his film a good film too, despite maybe what I was trying to think. A good film too at the end, trying to focus on building up the quality of the film. I feel like Will was like really focused on that throughout. And he even like didn't fall into the trap of, having to defend his thing as a Christmas movie, like people do with Die Hard every year. Like, it's still a Christmas movie, and he didn't have to focus on all of that. He just said, no, I mean, the question says, what is the better horror film? And that mine still counts, and I feel like he was giving me like the writing was better and all this stuff. I would have liked a little bit more from both players, actually, like about their films and like what makes their films so good, because I feel like we kind of like were a lot of surface level, but for like a first time debate, especially like for Brannon, who just hasn't debated a lot. I think, this was a very solid first round. I went with Will. Carrie, who did you go with and why?
I did write mine on a whiteboard because I didn't want what you said to sway me. But I also went with Will. I thought Will and Brannon both had excellent arguments, though. I think Brannon did a good job of like arguing that his movie is more Christmas themed and more like encapsulates, I guess, kind of the spirit of Christmas as best you can in a horror movie. And he kind of got Will to start debating that as well. But I think ultimately I went with Will because I felt like Will just gave me more reasons that his was the better film overall, maybe the better Christmas horror overall. but it was definitely, I think, Will and Brandon both did a great job, and it was a tough choice.
For sure. And yeah, Noah coming in clutch on his phone. Thank you
It's a
so much.
it's a
You're
trifecta.
okay.
I went with Will because I felt like Brannon didn't spend enough time talking about his movie, especially in the opening arguments. Like he spent so much time attacking Krampus instead of establishing his own argument.
Yeah, I actually will mirror that, and just for like kind of like advice, I think sometimes it helps to use all of your time if you can, and then also I know in the open debate round as well, Will was kind of dominating a lot of the time, but I don't think it was because Will was trying to do that. I think he was just trying to fill the time that Brandon just wasn't saying a whole lot, which is fine. It's definitely the first round, and I'm excited to see how this goes into the second round. Will gets that first point, and actually do like a ticker for the for who has what points. But we all know Will has the first point, and we'll see who gets the second point. Thank you, judges. Where I'm going to kick you guys backstage, and we're going to bring out move this around. All right, and then I did that on purpose because Brannon is going to start with this second question, and here is the question. It is, who is the scariest villain in a Christmas film? So here we still have a Christmas themed question, and you know what? I didn't say horror film. I was like, well, maybe someone will choose Mr. Potter from It's a Wonderful Life. He's pretty scary. But no, these guys still just definitely went with the horror film. So I thought that was pretty funny. I was wondering if someone was going to try to go super outside the box and try to pick a normal horror, like not non-horror Christmas film, and say, well, Hans Gruber's pretty scary, like shooting people in the face and stuff. But nobody went there. But that's okay. I love the picks that these guys picked. And we're going to go to Brandon first. It's going to be the same kind of thing. I'm going to pop in less to explain things because we kind of can get the vibe of how these things go, and we can kind of make this move a little bit faster. Thank you, Will. All right, Brandon, we're going to go to you first, then Will, and the clocks will start when you guys begin speaking. And let me just transition.
So when I think of a best kind of villain in a Christmas film, I immediately went to the main guys in a horror film. I went to Freddy, I went to Michael, I went to Jason, Ghostface, and you know what? None of them are in a Christmas movie. So then I had to think a little bit outside the box. And I went with the very definition of a wolf in sheep's clothing, Luke Lerner from 2015. I'm sorry, Better Watch Out. That boy, and I'm calling him a boy as much as he'd be upset if I called him that, is the most insane, diabolical, two-faced son of a bitch in the horror genre.
When I think of the best, the villain from a Christmas-themed horror film, despite the fact that's not what the question was, I thought, okay, what is the person who is like an imposing force, someone who almost cannot be killed, someone who is just menacing from start to finish. And if you don't think Art the Clown from Terrifier 3, then I don't want to know what's in your film collection. Let's be honest there. We see Art taking someone out when he has no head. How can so that in itself is terrifying. We see him just killing people for just out of the blue. Like no one's safe from him. Kids, women, children, no one is safe from Art the Clown. And he does so with menacing grins, dancing, and you know what? Clowns are scary to begin with.
I don't believe I actually said Christmas themed horror film in my opening argument. But if I did, then it was a misnomer because I meant it as Christmas themed films. And Luke Lerner is the very definition of somebody who could care less who he harms. He killed his best friend. He even tried to kill the girl that he was obsessed with, the babysitter. For this whole night, the whole plan was about her. And he tried to kill her.
What makes Art scary is that he doesn't have an immediate, he doesn't have an immediate purpose. Like it turns out he does have some kind of purpose later on in the film, but overall, he is just killing just wantonly. And he's doing so in just the scariest way possible. He is taking people out with various weapons. He is, he's decapitating people. He is like decapitating someone wearing it as a hat, which is just creepy. All right. So the reason why I don't find Luke all that scary is, first of all, anyone that I think that I can easily kick down a flight of stairs is just not scary at all. And the thing that bothered me about better watch out in the first place is all the people that he winds up killing or harming just doesn't understand a red flag when they see it. And that's the only reason why he was able to get away with anything he got away with. Whereas Art is just menacing. He is just like damn near unkillable. And he is able to, as imposing as he is able to sneak up on people and take them out just viciously. He is an absolute force.
But the thing with Luke is that he doesn't need to be an absolute force to take you out. He is the angelic child one moment, the psychopath the next. He's the killer that you don't see coming. And he tried to screwed up his whole plan, or at least he was able to maneuver his plan to the point where he ended up killing the one girl that he was trying to set up the whole night for in order to get away with his plan. He's literally the male version of Joe Roberts from Scream.
Except for the fact that just like Jill Roberts actually failed at her mission because she wanted to kill, Sydney, and the babysitter actually winds up living. So once again, not as effective as he thinks. Second of all, if he's making this all about her, trying to kill her at the end seems really stupid. So he's obviously not even that smart to begin with. But again, the reason why Luke is able to get away with this is because everyone around him is just so fucking stupid that they don't understand what a red flag looks like. Like I could see his motivations all the way down Main Street, whereas Art, he doesn't have motivations, which means that you can't see him coming because because he sneaks up on you, and then as soon as you see him, you're dead.
I would argue you're saying, everybody should see the red flags. He's a freaking clown, man. He's a scary clown. What do you do if you see a scary clown? You run away. What do you do if you see a 12-year-old boy? Oh, I can walk up to this child. I can trust him. Oh, no, you can't.
When he's a dead-eyed psycho like Luke, no, I'm not trusting that kid. I'm just getting the hell out of the house.
Art always looks like a psycho. He always looks like a psycho. Therefore,
that's what makes him scary.
See, but I disagree. I think that somebody who looks warm and gentle, someone that you can lure in just to stab him in the back, that makes it all the more scary because it's all the more real.
And yet there's that whole scene where he's sitting on Santa's lap and no one is ejecting him from that line. So everyone thinks that, oh, he's just a big silly clown. He's just goofing off. And then he blows up half the mall and kills kids. That is just scary as hell.
See, it's scary as hell, but all those parents are freaking idiots because he still looks like a clown underneath the Santa mask. Why would anybody bring their parents to a Santa Claus that is dressed like a clown?
And I think the bigger idiot is the ex-boyfriend who's like, oh, well, I don't see my ex-girlfriend. I don't see the woman I came over here to see. I'm in some weird kid's house, and he's not letting me see her. He's making me talk to her.
But you know what? No. This debate isn't about the victims. It's about the killers.
But he's not, but the thing is, if you can see the motivations, and if you can see the motivations on his face,
we don't know Art's motivations. We don't know Art's motivations. He went into the.
That's exactly my point.
See, but yeah, we don't know Art's motivations, but the fact that we knew Luke's motivations and he didn't give a damn anyway, just to get away with it, that's even scarier.
But again, he could easily be kicked down a flight of stairs, and the fact that no one
No, it doesn't
does
matter
it
if you can get
is
kicked
dumb.
down a flight of stairs.
Wow. Okay. Well, now we're gonna go. Now we're gonna go into the closing, and we're gonna start with Brannon, and then Will's gonna be able to close us out on this one.
Look, guys, in the end, Luke Lerner is a horny 12-year-old boy who was trying to do everything he could and was willing to kill everybody in his way to hook up with his babysitter. Is it sick? Yes. Is it demented? Yes. But what makes it even more demented is that he didn't give a fuck about who he hurt and why he hurt them. He just wanted to get what he wanted. And then when he couldn't get what he wanted, all hell broke loose. And he did anything he could to save his own skin. Art the Clown can suck it. Oh.
Everything Brannon just described makes him an incel, so that's creepy-ish. But again, the only reason why he's able to even do these things is because no one understands what a red flag looks like. So it's just plot convenience that he's able to get rid of the murders, do the murders in the first place. And he does feel something. After he shoots his best friend, he's very, very upset by it. So the fact that he's claiming he doesn't give a damn is just irrelevant. Art the Clown is scary because his presence is scary. Clowns are creepy to begin with, thanks to Pennywise. But the fact that he's able to sneak up on you, the fact that he's like damn near unkillable, the fact that we actually see him kill a cop while not having a head, and then hold his head and hold the cop's head in place while he boards the subway until he can find his head again. That's all just creepy shit. This is just scary as hell. And the fact that he's doing all this with just silent laughs and dances is just scary from start to finish. No.
All right, we'll bring back the judges in, and we'll go ahead and actually switch up the order. Carrie, you can start, and then I'll close it out.
I think this was like a really good debate, and I thought it wound up being really funny, just like which of these psychos is more psycho. And I think the choices are fantastic, like two of the scariest Christmas horror movie villains. I ultimately went with Brannon for this one. I think, I don't know, like Will mainly had, I think, just a couple reasons why Luke Lerner wasn't as scary as Art the Clown. And I think Brannon did a good job of kind of just like counter arguing those and then arguing still why Luke was still scarier. Again, this was a tough one though. And I feel like Brannon just had a lot of reasons why Luke was so scary. Will also had great arguments though for Art. Obviously Art's very scary and everything. So yeah, this was a tough one, but ultimately I gave it to Brannon.
So I thought Brandon did better than the first round, but I also felt like clowns are just terrifying. And so I gave it to Will. And part of that was I felt like in acknowledging that clowns are more terrifying than a 12-year-old boy, Brannon sort of at times helped Will argue.
Okay, yeah. That was okay. That was the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. This makes sense that you guys would be split on this because I do think these are two very different choices, but also very similar in that they're very scary in different ways. And I think both of these players hit on why both of these were scary in their own ways. Honestly, I have to apologize because I forgot to kind of say spoiler warning for Better Watch Out, because it's one of like the best like midway point twists. So I will say, still go watch that movie because it's incredible. Yeah, Will coming in talking about Art the Clown being scary just by the fact that he's a scary clown. What he does, is just really horrific and stuff like that. That made a lot of sense. And then, Brannon talking about how his kid basically is just kind of a wolf in sheep's clothing. It just kind of comes out of nowhere. So it's just kind of like, which one is scarier for why is scarier. And honestly, I think Will at the beginning was probably going to dominate this one again, just because I felt that, Brannon wasn't really going to sell his choices as much, because on paper, Art the Clown is just scary just in general when you like, throw him out there and you go, look at this thing, look at what he does. This is obviously just the scariest thing. But Brannon had me like rolling because he came in just basically like Noah said, just came in like harder on this one. And I went with Brannon basically because I think Brannon just came in like a force in this one, basically saying, your guy is kind of like obviously scary and people should like run away from him just in general, but like my guy is unexpectedly scary. Like, you'll go to him and like try to with open arms, like, he's just a little kid, like, just, hey, let's hang out kind of a deal, and then he's gonna stab you in the back. And it's just that performance and everything, just I think Brannon really sold why he's so unexpectedly scary. Even though, yeah, Art the Clown is just really scary just on the face. So yeah, I understand why this was split, but I went with Brannon just because I felt like he came in just arguing this one really hard, and I didn't expect that from Brannon. And but it was difficult because there were times where Will was basically like, look at what this guy does. It's just scary as hell, and some of the things he's describing was just horrific. And of course, why those movies are just hard to watch at times. But
it was a very tight debate.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so we have it tied at 1-1, which is very appropriate for the match. So we can go into the third round with stakes, like in Scream 5. My debate has stakes. So let's go into question 3 with that. Thank you, judges. We'll remove those guys and we'll bring the other guys in, and we'll talk about. So Will's going to start with this one, the third one, and then we're just going to change up the question, which is, it's not a question. It's just pitch a holiday horror movie. And these guys had like kind of free reign to do whatever they want. Said holiday horror movie, so it doesn't even have to be Christmas. It could be anything you want, kind of a holiday. I hopefully around this time. I don't know. Honestly, there's no choices here. The judges don't know what's gonna happen. Hopefully these guys have pitches or just sort of ideas or whatever they're gonna throw at us, and we'll vote on whatever we think is the most interesting movie we want to see, I guess. We're going to do the same format as before. Timer will begin when you guys begin speaking. We're going to start with Will.
So because this question said holiday horror film, I decided to make a pitch for a holiday that has not a lot of movies in general, but definitely not a lot of horror films in general. I chose a Hanukkah-based film. I chose, my film, tentatively titled The 8 Nights of Hanukkah, night spelled with a K. This is going to be a film about on Hanukkah, the first night of Hanukkah. All of a sudden, what's the worst thing that could happen for a bunch of Jews? That's right, zombie Nazis rise from the ground and try to kill all the Jews on Hanukkah, and it's up to our 8 protagonists to save the day in any way, shape, or form.
All right, so I took some thought about this, and I thought about, did I want to do another Christmas-themed horror movie, or did I want to try and do another different type of holiday horror movie? And then I thought of a pretty good Christmas horror movie, and mine is called 12 Hours of Christmas. You get 12 people locked in a room with various weapons, and they have to fight the 12 items in the 12 Days of Christmas, starting with day 1, hour 1, partridge in a pear tree, 2 turtle doves, 3 French hens, 4 calling birds, etc. Each hour, you have 1 hour to kill each opponent, and if you don't kill each opponent, they can gang up. So after the second hour, if you don't have the partridge, you didn't kill the partridge, you get 2 turtle doves, etc. Whoever makes it all 12 hours gets $1 million. And if there's more than one survivor, they got to split it.
just gonna pop in here and say both of these are pretty awesome, and I'm excited to see these guys go into it. So yeah, let's go into the 30 seconds.
So to expand a little bit more, when not on the first night of Hanukkah, when Nazi zombies rise from the ground to attack all of the all the Jews in this Jewish community, all right, friends who have no training, no military background, but they know what they need to do. They feel like they have to be Judah Maccabee. They need to encapsulate the Maccabees and what they did. They need to rise from they need to rise up, and they need to save their community from Nazi zombies, which is just thrilling.
All right, to expand on this a little more, there's 12 contestants. You live the 12 hours, you get $1 million. Here's the thing, though. The 1 hour you kill the partridge in the pear tree, great. You move on to 2 turtle doves. If the 2 turtle doves don't get killed, 3 French hens are going 2 turtle doves versus 12 people. But here's the kicker. Who actually wants to split $1 million? So the longer that you stay alive, let's say you make it past the 5 golden rings of fire, and then you've got the next number, but eventually when you get to higher numbers, you're going to have to start killing people.
All right. So what I'm hearing from you, Brannon, is that your idea is essentially Saw with birds and various animals until we get to,
not just with birds.
Right. I mean, sure, like rings of fire, but you have, how can you kill a ring of fire? I'm just kind of wondering how that's going to work.
But there's an assortment of weapons in the room. So what's going to happen is that eventually you're going to need people to help you kill people. But here's the thing: who wants to split $1 million? When you get to the higher number of enemies, you're going to need more people to help you. But the more people you have, is less money that you get at the end.
So what you're saying is that your Christmas film is based all on greed, which is the antithesis of what you should be doing at Christmas time, which is kind of weird. It's a weird decision nonetheless. Whereas, at least with mine, we don't see a lot of Hanukkah films. We don't see, we've never seen a Hanukkah film where Jews have to like rise up and kill Nazi zombies. At least mine has some not only great stakes, but also it has an originality behind it as well. I kind of feel like I've seen your film a little bit. I've seen variations of with Cube and Saw and all those other films, and while it's definitely funny on paper, watching a bunch of yahoos try and kill turtle doves and a partridge in a pear tree and everything like that. At least mine can be both scary and funny at the same time. You say that it promotes greed. I say that it promotes something else. It's all about humanity, okay? And what's more important, saving a human life or the money? Christmas is all about giving. You give human life and you get less money. Right, but then you're like, well, who wants to split $1 million?
See, so exactly.
But you just say that, mine's about giving life, but then you're now saying that you're going to take it away. So you're being
no. See, that's the thing there. That's the question. Who wants to split $1 million? But in reality, if people were good people, they would split the $1 million. I'm saying who would share $1 million? That's just a question that everybody would be asking. But in the end, you're supposed to be doing the opposite. You're supposed to be helping people, not killing people, kill all these creatures, and then you put the money, and that's the Christmas spirit.
But the only reason why that might have any stakes is if you have greedy people, and therefore, if you have those kind of greedy people, then that's going to be the antithesis of the spirit of Christmas, which does not feel, does not feel great. And again, a Christmas themed,
it's not supposed to feel great. It's a horror film.
Yeah, but as a Christmas themed horror film is one thing. A Christmas themed like Saw Cube ripoff feels
Saw Cube ripoff. Come on, man. No. Okay, they each get harder as it goes on. And if they had more people to defeat these creatures, then everybody goes home happy. If it's Saw or Cube, people end up dying from these things. That's not the point of this. They're supposed to band together to defeat these creatures and then all walk home happy.
But at the same
time, it's a horror film. People are still going to die.
But people are going to obviously die in my film where there's actual stakes, where Nazi zombies rise from the ground. Listen, we talked about your film a lot. Zombie Nazis is scary to begin with, especially if you're a Jew. And mine encapsulates the spirit of Hanukkah, which no film has actually ever done. Really, we're talking about we're going to be talking about the Maccabees, who are the reason why the Jews lived through the 8 nights of Hanukkah to begin with. We get to see that endurance. We get to see perseverance. We get to see everything that Hanukkah is actually all about in mind. Christmas, yours is not really represented aside from the holiday alone.
Do you guys want to go another minute?
That's fine. Will, I'm sorry, man. I did not mean to overshadow you there, dude.
No, it's fine. We can just do the 1 minute closing.
I wasn't saying anybody did anything wrong. I just like
No. I felt bad when I overshadowed all of it. I guess that's the game, right? Like,
no, I just thought it was a fun discussion. I was like, you guys can go on another minute, but we'll go on the closing.
I first want this brought up that Brannon did not have any knocks against my film whatsoever in that round at all. He said nothing about my film, and so anything he has to say in the 1 minute is going to feel like a last ditch effort. But honestly, what is very few people know the true meaning of Hanukkah, the perseverance that went into living with that, what the Maccabees did for the Jews and everything like that. And that's going to be completely represented in 8 Nights of Hanukkah. It's going to be about friendship. It's going to be about love. It's going to be perseverance. That's going to be thrilling, scary, and everything. Brannon's film sounds exactly like a Saw Cube ripoff. That's going to be kind of funny, whether it's intentionally funny or not. He can't decide whether it's going to be based on greed or whatever, and it's just like it's funny of a concept. I think it's going to be a very poor execution.
In my opinion, the film will be about both greed and bringing people together, because unfortunately, that's what Christmas is nowadays. The true spirit of Christmas is muddled down by greed, and that's not how it should be. That's not how it should be. People should be more giving. People should be helping each other in these tired times. And if all these people are put in danger at the same time, the right thing to do would be to help each other defeat all of these objects. But unfortunately, people don't always do the right thing. And when people don't do the right thing, it turns into a horror film.
All right, so I just assumed Brannon was done there. He took a really long pause at the end. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and start with Noah on this one, and Carrie will finish us off, and we'll find out who won this match.
You already know what I'm going for. Hanukkah and Nazi zombies, like that sounds inventive. It sounds fun. There are no Hanukkah horror movies, whereas that other movie sounded like it could be fun, but like it sounds like maybe Saw, but also like any battle royale in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sucks a little bit from like a debate perspective, because I really like both pitches a lot, and we did get a lot more from Brannon's pick because they just talked about it like quite a bit, like for like 3 minutes, and then they were trying to talk about Will's pick in the last minute. And then Will is right that Brannon didn't actually touch on Will's movie that much, if at all. And I was trying to see if he was going to figure out some good takedowns of Will's choice, because Will certainly had some good knocks against Brannon's. And I don't know if it's touchy about Nazis and stuff like that. Kind of a deal. It's kind of something maybe a little bit harder to argue against, because I mean, Will and Noah are both right that there's just not a lot of representation there with Hanukkah, just in general, as far as just regular movies, but even horror movies. And I personally would like to see more representation in that sphere as well. And so I love that Will pitched a Hanukkah horror movie, because it did sound pretty awesome. And unfortunately, Brannon just didn't really bring much at all against it, and so it's kind of very uneven as far as from like a debate perspective, because I really liked Brannon's pick, or his pitch. I thought that kind of at first I was like, what? How is this even going to work? He's going to fight birds. I was like cracking up because, Will said saw with birds. And then Brandon was like, not just birds. I just thought that was like really funny. And stuff. But yeah, I liked how Brandon was like, fleshing out his stuff. I feel like Brandon's was a little bit more fleshed out, but I think that's also because they talked about it more and Brandon got more of a chance to flesh his out. And I liked what he was talking about with, the Christmas spirit being kind of muddled down by greed, and maybe the characters, they can find a way to make the greed lesser, and maybe they can find a way to come together and get the Christmas spirit. I liked all of that. I thought that kind of, had some depth to it, and would make it more like surface level than something like a Cube and stuff. Although I felt that it was very similar to something like Cube. That was kind of a nail right on the head kind of thing from Will, a comparison. And then, with Will's choice, even though it wasn't like super fleshed out, I liked how he was also going deeper too. It wasn't just, hardcore Jews killed Nazis. Like, that sounds awesome. That sounds like a Quentin Tarantino level revisionist history, zombie level madness. It sounded really cool. But then I also liked how he was bringing it back to, we get to learn more about, Jewish culture and stuff like that. And like the stories that bring people together and whatnot. So, yeah, I liked both pitches a lot. And yet I still think Will had like both good, strong arguments for his and good knocks against Brandon's, even though I really like Brandon's pitch too.
And I will point out, like, in terms of Brannon arguing, like, it shows that sometimes taking more time is not helpful.
I mean, maybe because you can take more time to walk yourself into something like a bad argument. I don't think that's what happened here. I think, maybe like that 25 seconds that Brandon didn't use, he could have found some good knocks on Will's. I don't know. Maybe there wasn't like a lot to knock. I'm not sure, but it didn't happen. So I gave Will the point there as well. Carrie, who'd you give the point to?
I also gave the point to Will. Yeah, I think he just they did spend a lot of time talking about Brandon's movie in the open debate, and I felt like that was kind of a detriment because then Brannon didn't have a lot negative to say against Will's movie. And I thought both pitches though were hilarious, and I'm not sure what, like, the last 4 things in the 12 Days of Christmas songs are all humans, so I'm not sure how that would have worked in the movie, but I wish we could have maybe gotten there too. That would have been fun to talk about. But yeah, I think overall I thought this was a great debate. I was laughing. I thought
Me too.
both Will and Brannon did a great job arguing their movies. I think Will just maybe it's also kind of he convinced me it's kind of the movie I want to see a little bit more. Might become like a Hanukkah classic.
Yeah, I'm sure the Maids of Milken would have been ninjas or something. I'm sure if Brandon had gotten more time to flesh out a single one. But yeah, these were both movies that I would have seen for sure. So maybe if Will and Brandon can get their funding, they can give us those movies.
I need to try to get funding for a slasher about a magical sentient Hanukkah menorah.
Maybe that'll be like the next Pixar movie, something like that. I don't know. The talking menorah. All right.
Talking menorah that goes around killing people.
Okay, maybe not the next Pixar movie, but maybe the next Tim Burton movie. I don't know. All right. So we're going to go ahead and bring in the second place finisher, Brannon Dunlap.
What's going on, Chadwick?
First of all, this was kind of like a fun little game I decided to do. I was like, I've participated in a lot of debate, and then I was like, would it be easy to run one a little bit? Like, I don't want to make it like a whole thing really, unless it becomes that. But right now, it's just kind of like a fun thing we do every once in a while that we do games here or there on the channel. And then I was like, hey, debate's kind of a game. Let's see how that works.
Right.
3 of us on the channel, we could just be judges. Unfortunately, Hunter couldn't make it here.
I know.
Noah coming in on the clutch, we were able to make
this Noah's great, man.
Yeah, and thank you so much for actually signing up to do it. You're like, maybe the first one that popped in and was like, "Oh, I want to debate."
I've never done a debate before, so I apologize if my form was not fair to Will. I actually I hope I hope he can hear this. I don't know if he's backstage or not, but
yeah.
I honestly thought that he had the better movie that I did at the end. That's why I didn't have anything to say bad about it. I was just like, I'm going to hype up my movie because I don't have anything bad to say about his. It's a great idea.
Gotcha. Yeah. Sometimes that happens, and I've had debates before. Like one time I debated Joe Farrelly, who's in the community.
Oh, I love Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, the trivia community that we're all aware of. I debated him one time, and it was like Halloween versus The Thing, and I was just like trying so hard to find negatives for The Thing, and I was like, how do I do this? And so sometimes you just can't really find something good, so you really have to like dive deep and try and come up with something to to argue against. So I definitely get that, and also to point out, like, this being like your first time debating anything, like, you're a great trivia player, but coming in trying something just new, takes a lot of guts. And so I wouldn't worry about anything about like messing any format. I mean, personally, I think you did great for a first time debater. You come in and you just have everything prepared. You had really good thoughts, and that if you hadn't told me that you were a first time debater like that second round, I probably wouldn't have.
No, I got a feel for it a little bit after the first round. I was like, okay, I got to change up my tactics a little bit here. And
yeah, and
that's what happened.
Honestly, I mean, I've been in debates. I remember like one debate I won against my buddy Austin. The first 2 questions I was arguing against him, he was just dominating. And then I was getting so mad after that I just came in like with the last like 2, and then the bonus round, just so mad. I was just like throwing everything and just like, really just not giving a shit and kind of throwing some of my notes away.
Right.
Hard. And then I ended up sweeping the last 3 questions. Sometimes, you can bring some passion to it, and, here, like, that's why I was trying to throw a little bit of like advice in there just to be like,
no, and I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, because some people like don't use a lot of their time, and that can be a good strategy.
Right.
But I feel like it's most of the time not the best strategy, because that time that you're not filling with points, or just kind of miss opportunities a lot of the times. Although, like there have been times where I've had like 5 seconds, and then I'd throw something in, and that would be the very thing that I threw off at the top of my head.
Right, in the clutch.
In the clutch, that the opponent could then use to go, oh, yeah, well, that's a dumb point because of this. Why say that?
So, full disclosure, I do apologize, spoiler alert, for Better Watch Out and Scream 4, if they were paying attention. Sorry, y'all. But I totally didn't even think about spoilers for that. I was like, oh, God.
Not a big deal. I mean, these movies have been out for a long time.
Right, yeah.
But
but Will did great. Super congratulations to Will, man. He's a great guy, man. I love Will Cohen, and I'm so glad that he won this. Good job, buddy.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Brannon. I'd love to have you back if we keep doing this kind of thing, because you're like one of the perfect people, so knowledgeable about horror, and so I'd love to do this again down the road.
And real quick before I go, to answer Carrie's question, she asked what would happen if they got to the very end, all the humans. Nobody would be alive by that point. Everybody would kill each other, or the creatures would have killed themselves.
Dang, he's written a full screenplay, guys. So this might happen. We'll see. Thanks again, Brannon, and we'll see you next time. And we're gonna bring in the winner, Will Cohen.
I mean, let's face facts. If I would have given you the name of this show and lost on the first, on my first time out, that would have been humiliating as fuck.
Yeah.
First of all, I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about Brannon. If it is true, and this is his first debate, he had me on the rope so many fucking times. I was kind of shocked. It's like I've never thought to myself, oh shit, maybe I should have actually taken notes before in my life. But it's like yeah, I was kind of I was very curious to see like how he was going to defend this fucking 12-year-old incel douchebag, and I'm like, well, now I got up my game, and at least I got one vote out of that, so I did the best I could on that round, I guess. And then I was like, okay, it's all going to come down to pitches. It's like, I had such a joke pitch that I'm like, okay, how can I now make this stronger in order to beat him? And I'm like, okay, go true meaning of Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Which is weird because no one actually knows the whole fucking true meaning of Hanukkah. But it's like, hey, if we educate people about what the true meaning of Hanukkah is in a horror film, why not?
Yeah.
Hanukkah, the more you know, Nazi zombies. There we go. But no, this was an absolute blast. I'm very eager to see like who else is going to be participating in this, and therefore who my next opponent's going to be, because and also if every single episode is just going to be like a random theme episode. Man, I cannot wait for the Earth Day fucking episode where we have to talk about The Happening. I cannot wait.
Yeah, yeah. You could do The Happening. I think you could do like Troll, or
God,
a lot of these different movies. Oh, you could do like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Like there's like pods and stuff. You could do Day of the Triffids. There's so many different things you could do. Noah said Evil Dead. I guess you could do for that, maybe.
I mean, yeah, every Arbor Day, fuck a tree. I guess I don't know.
oh yeah, the tree thing. That's right. That's why. Oh yeah.
Some
all
wood
right.
got laid. Yes.
Well, I mean, no, honestly, I just devised this as something fun to do on the channel, and then we ended up. I was just like, it's Christmas time. Let's just do a fun Christmas theme. I think the next one we might do like a 2025 style theme. But I don't think we would do like a theme every single time. We might give, the opponents or players the option of, choosing strengths and stuff like that. We might go that round if we make this a thing. And I know you're eager to make this a thing and, have another opponent. And but I definitely thank you for coming in. Brannon, I agree, did a great job for his first thing. I think this was just such a fun back and forth from you guys. I think that the choices were so good, and like you coming in with Art the Clown. I'm just like, I mean, he's probably just going to dominate because he's just a scary character. Doesn't talk and just kills people just in insane ways. And then I just loved how Brannon came in with, kind of under the radar, like, yeah, but you don't see this guy coming. You see Art coming. So that is a testament to, I think, the on paper scary versus the, well, if you think about it, this is scarier because of this kind of a deal. And when you saw that, it was a little bit split there. It wasn't like everybody voted for Brannon.
Right,
so.
but that also shows what kind of like debater Brannon is as well.
Yeah.
Because like, because he can, what's more dangerous about sometimes like someone who has notes and is very methodical is someone who can think on the fly, and someone who like can get, can put ideas in your head and have them stick. And that's exactly what Brannon did. I absolutely love the guy. He is, just very smart when it comes to horror films, but he's just a great dude in general. So, I thank Brannon. I thank you so much for such a great time tonight, and all your kind words, and just thanks for just having fun with me tonight.
Yeah, honestly, we're gonna have to see if we can get you guys back on, and we'll have like a Scream debate, because you think Brannon was good here. Imagine Brannon in a Scream debate. I think that would be incredible.
That would be-
I might have to jump in on that one though, actually. But thank you so much, Will. This was fun, and I do want to see more Hanukkah horror movies. Honestly, also those two movies that you guys pitched, they could be played just straight, but I think they would both kind of be better if they were both horror comedies.
Yeah,
So,
I want I want to see the Eight Lords leaping on like fucking pogo sticks. That's what I want. And like,
Sure.
I want to see the Eight Maids of Milk, and I want to see like Matt Stone like lactating. That's what I want to see.
Sure. All right. Well, thank you, Will. This was fun. Congrats
Thank you.
on the win, and we'll go ahead and kick you out. All right. I just thought I would bring the judges back in real quick, so we could all just say, kind of talk about the match real quick, if you have time and want to do that. I thought this was a really fun match. Thank you guys for also being here to help this go along. I think the judging was really, really good in this. I think the players did such a great job. I had fun listening to it. I was like laughing like the whole time, in a very good way, because they were saying a lot of funny things. And they were just really good at poking at each other in a very nice way, because they like each other. So, which is always fun. Sometimes it might not be as fun if people get really heated, and that could be fun also. But what did you guys think about this match, Carrie?
Yeah, I agree. It was very fun. Thank you so much, Will and Brannon, for starting on this journey with us. It was just such a fun debate to kick things off, and you both really brought it, and made things both like funny, but also you were taking it, like the debate part of it, seriously, and it made it I don't know, it just made it really interesting and fun.
Very much so. Noah, thank you so much for coming in clutch. How did
Yeah,
you
of
like
course.
that?
I'd be happy to be back. This was a fun debate. I think it was really fun to see Brandon figure out how to debate.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Maybe we can even have you come in as a player at some point if you want. Or no pressure.
I would do it.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, we'll have to talk about that at a later date. And so let's go ahead and close this out. All right, Carrie. I'm just closing it out. I just want to say, thank you to everyone involved in this. Hunter will be back next time, hopefully, and can help judge. And we're gonna bring a lot more stuff to the channel soon. And this is something that we're trying out, and we'll see if this goes along and becomes a thing. And it seems people are kind of excited about it. And we might have to jump into more trivia stuff, and other types of games and whatnot, drafts. I know we've been doing our bracket stuff, but we took kind of a hiatus for that. We're going to bring that back in 2026, and I'm very excited for that. But also just have a good, happy holiday season. Hopefully not, even though it's a horror channel, hopefully not a horrific holiday season, but it's just a happy holiday season. Whether you celebrate Hanukkah, Christmas, or any other fun holidays around this time. From the Welcome to Primetime team, have a Merry Christmas, and ho, ho, ho. Carrie, anything?
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Oh, yeah, and stay scared.